ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवती नैष्टिकी। हरे कृष्णा। We continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto First, Chapter 9, the passing away of Bhishma. Shloka number 19 to 21. अस्य अनुभावं भगवान्
अस्य अनुभावं भगवान्
वेद गुह्यतमं शिवः
वेद गुह्यतमं शिवः
देव ऋषिः नारद साक्षात्
देवऋषिः नारदः साक्षात्
भगवान् कपिलः नृप
भगवान् कपिलः नृपः
यं मन्यसे मातुलेयं
यं मन्यसे मातुलेयं
प्रियं मित्रं सुहृत्तमम्
प्रियं मित्रं सुहृत्तमम्
अकरो सचिवं दूत
अकरोः सचिवं दूत
दूतम सौहृद सौहृदात अत सारथिं
सौहृदात् अथ सारथिम्
सर्व आत्मनः समदृशः
सर्व आत्मनः समदृशः
हि अद्य वयस्यान् अंकृते
हि अद्वयस्यान् अंकृते
तत्कृतं मतिवैषम्यं
तत्कृतं मतिवैषम्यं
निरवध्यस्य न क्वचित्
निर्वद्यस्य न क्वचित्
अस्य अनुभावं भगवान्
अस्य अनुभावं भगवान्
वेद गुह्यतमं शिवः
वेदगुह्यतमं शिवः
देव ऋषिः नारदः साक्षात्
देवर्षिः नारदः साक्षात्
भगवान् कपिलः नृप
भगवान् कपिलः नृपः
यं मन्यसे मातुलेयं
यं मन्यसे मातुलेयं
प्रियं मित्रं सुहृत्तमम्
प्रियं मित्रं सुहृत्तमम्
अकरो सचिवं दूतं
अकरोः सचिवं दूतं
सौहृदात् अथ सारथिं
सौहृदात् अथ सारथिम्
सर्व आत्मनः समदृशः
सर्वात्मनः समदृशः
हि अद्वयस्य अनहङ्कृतेः
हि अद्वयस्य अनहन् कृतेः
तत्कृतं मतिवैषम्यं
तत्कृतं मतिवैषम्यं
निरवध्यस्य न क्वचित्।
निर्वद्यस्य न क्वचित्
प्लीज रीड।
अस्य अनुभावं भगवान् वेदगुह्यतमं शिव देवर्षि नारदः साक्षात् भगवान् कपिलः नृपः यं मन्यसे मातुलेयं प्रियं मित्रं सुहृत्तमम् अकरोः सचिवं दूत सौहृदत् अथ सारथिं सर्वात्मनः समदृशः हि अद्वयस्य अहन् कृतेः तत्कृतं मतिवैषम्यं निर्वद्यस्य न क्वचितः।
पूनम माता जी प्लीज रीड।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण।
अस्य अनुभावं भगवान् वेद गुह्यतमं शिवः देवर्षि नारद साक्षात् भगवान् कपिलो नृपः यं मनस्य मातुलेयं प्रियं मित्रं सुहृत्तमम् आकरो सचिवं दूतं सौहृदाद् अथ सारथिम् सर्व आत्मना समदृशो हि अद्वयस्य अनहंकर अहंकृते तत् कृतं मति वैषम्यम निर्वदस्य न क्वचित्.
Hare Krishna. Sridhar Prabhuji, please read.
Hare Krishna. Asya anubhavam bhagavan veda guhyatamam shivaha devarishi narada sakshat bhagavan kabila nrpa yam manse matuleyam priyam mitram suhridam akara sachivam dhutam sauhrudat adasarathim सर्वात्मना समदृशो हि अद्वैस्य अनहंकृतः तत्कृतं मतिवैष्णव्यं निवरत्यस्य न क्वचित्. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. Krupamayi Siddha Devi Mataji.
Krishna Mataji. Asya anubhavam bhagavan veda guhyatamam shivaha deva rishi narada sakshat bhagavan kapilo nirpa yam manasi maturyam priyam mitram suhritamam akrosa tam tutam saurudat atasaritim sarvatmana samadrisu he advaya anakankriti tatkritam madi Vaisyamam Nirvadesha na kavich.
Asya anubhavam bhagavana veda guhyatamam shivaha deva rishi naradaha sakshat bhagavana kapila nrupa yam mannase matuleyam priyam mitram suruttamam akaro sachivam dutam saurudat atasarathim sarva atmana samadrusha hi advayasya anankrute tatkrutam mati vaishamyam niravadhyasya napachit. Translation and purport by the Śrīla Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. O King, Lord Shiva, Narada, the sage amongst the demigods, and Kapila, the incarnations of Godhead, all know very confidentially about his glories through direct contact. O King, that personality whom out of ignorance only you thought to be your maternal cousin, your very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc. is that very personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he is present in everyone's heart. He is equally kind to everyone and he is free from the false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material inebriety. He is equibalanced. Purport by the Śrīla Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Pure devotees of the Lord are all budhās, or persons who know the glories of the Lord in different transcendental living services. As the Lord has innumerable expansions of his plenary form, there are innumerable pure devotees of the Lord who are engaged in the exchange of service of different humors. Ordinarily, there are 12 great devotees of the Lord, namely Brahma, Narad, Shiv, Kumara, Kapila, Mano, Prahlada, Bhishma, Janak, Shukdev Goswami, Bali Maharaj, and Yamraj. Bhishma Deva, although one of them, he has mentioned only 3 important names of the 12 who knows the glories of the Lord. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura, one of the great ācāryas in the modern age, explained that anubhāva, or the glory of the Lord, is first appreciated by the devotee in ecstasy, manifesting the symptoms of perspiring, trembling, weeping, bodily eruptions, etc., which are further enhanced by study, understanding the glories of the Lord. Such different understandings of bhavas are exchanged between Yashoda and the Lord, binding the Lord by ropes, and in the chariot driving by the Lord in the exchange of love with Arjuna. These glories of the Lord are exhibited in his being subordinated before his devotees, and that is another feature of the glories of the Lord. Shukdev Goswami and the Kumaras, although situated in the transcendental position, became converted by another feature of bhava and turned into pure devotees of the Lord. Tribulations imposed upon the devotees of the Lord constitute another exchange of transcendental bhāva between the Lord and the devotee. The Lord says, I put my devotee into difficulty, and thus the devotee becomes more purified in exchanging transcendental bhāva with me. Placing the devotee into material troubles means delivering him to illusory material relation. The material relations are based on reciprocation of material enjoyment, which depends mainly on material resources. Therefore, when material resources are withdrawn by the Lord, the devotee is sent person attracted toward the transcendental living service of the Lord. Thus, the Lord snatches the fallen soul from the mirror of material existence. Tribulations offered by the Lord to his devotee are different from the tribulations resulting from vicious action. All these glories of the Lord are especially known to the great Mahajanas like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Kapil, Kumar, and Vishnu, as mentioned above, and one is able to grasp it by their grace. Lord Sri Krishna, although acting as cousin, brother, friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc. of the Pandavas, was still the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Out of his causeless mercy and favor upon his unalloyed devotees, he performs all kinds of services, but that does not mean that he has changed his position as the absolute person. To think of him as an ordinary man is the grossest type of ignorance, because he is the absolute. There is nothing different from him. He is Kaivalya. There is nothing except himself. Everything and everyone is the manifestation of his energy, and thus he is present everywhere by his energy, being non-different from it. The sun is identified with every inch of the sun rays and every molecular particle of the rays. Similarly, the Lord is distributed by his different energies. He is Paramatma, or the super soul, present in everyone as the supreme guidance, and therefore he is already the chariot driver and counsel of all living beings. When he therefore exhibits himself as chariot driver of Arjuna, there is no change in his exalted position. It is the power of devotional service only that demonstrates him as the chariot driver or the messenger, since he has nothing to do with the material conception of life, because his absolute spiritual identity. There is for him no superior or inferior action. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he has no false ego, and so he does not identify himself with anything different from him. The material conception of ego is equibalanced in him. He does not feel therefore inferior by becoming the chariot driver of his pure devotees. It is the glory of the pure devotee that only he can bring about service from the affectionate Lord. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Am Sri Guroho Sri Utapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishyakanvitancha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashchata Desha Tarine Vancha Kalpatarubecha Kripa Sindhube Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today we try to understand shloka number 19 and 20 and 21. Here they describe about the 12 Mahajanas. Who are 12 Mahajanas? And again they describe about the they told that, O king, that personality whom out of ignorance only you thought he is your maternal cousin and very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, and everything is, but he is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. Then again they describe about the absolute personality of Godhead. What points they discuss in 3 shlokas. Prabhuji will tell us in detail. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Ram Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So, season's greetings to all of you and happy Dhanteras. So, yesterday we celebrated Vasubharas, the
Yeah,
day
Shish Prabhuji.
where we actually worship cow and calves. And we all know that Krishna loves cows very much. He is Govinda. He came, when he came as it is, as a Avtari, and what he did was, he became a Gwalapal. And we read it so many times. Namo Brahmana Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Go. That cow is very, very important for him. And after celebrating that day, today we are into the Dhanateras. And on this auspicious day, we are again, look at the Lord's miracle, or what I'll say, the kind of mercy the Lord has. We're discussing a shloka which is making us understand that dhana, or the wealth, is of absolutely no necessity. What is important, what is going to be always with us, is pure devotional service. Even if we have all the riches that can ever be, still will not be able to control Krishna, or what I'll say, make Krishna do any kind of a service. But it is a glory of a pure devotee that he can bring about service from the affectionate Lord. So Bhishmadev is trying to explain to Yudhishthir Maharaj why he should not be repenting, why everything that has happened is actually as per the desire of Lord Krishna. So there was nothing for which Yudhishthir should blame himself. And in trying to make him understand these things, Bhishmadev is explaining these 3 important aspects in these shlokas. Out of the 12 Mahanajanas, he's taking the names of Lord Shiva, Narada, and Kapila. So he himself is a Mahajana. But he's giving the reference of these 3 persons, and he's seeing that they know confidentially about the glories of Krishna. And how? Through direct contact. This word direct contact, which comes in this shloka, is very, very important. Sakshat Bhagavan Kapilha. So, Kapil Dev is a personality of Godhead. Sakshat, directly. And what have they done? They have anubhavam asya. They have anubhavam is glories of him. So, they have understood the guhyatamam confidentially. Who all? Narada, Shiva, and Kapila. So, this is very, very important. And they have understood it by direct contact, through direct contact with Krishna, through so many possibilities. Many times we need to understand what is best. Like suppose this is a good example which many a times Gaur Gopal Prabhuji also gives, or we explain this in the Journey of Self-Discovery classes, even the Discover Yourself classes. If a boy wants to know who his father is, And he decides that let me do DNA test. So if he wants to find out who his father is, by DNA test, he'll have to collect the samples of all the male population on the planet Earth. And if he's able to do it, then he has to run it into the system. And that report, even if one cycle takes say, X seconds, the whole way of knowing, coming to the conclusion, is going to be somewhere around 700 years. And will he be living by that time? Even if he lives, will his father be alive at that time? So this is a difficult way. The best way is simply ask the mother, because the mother knows who the father is by contact. Similarly, so whatever mother gives, whatever mother informs, that is authoritative, because she knows the truth. Similarly, regarding Krishna being Parameshwar, Lord Shivji knows, because he is always in meditation upon Krishna. Raj Rishi Narada knows, because he has experienced it and is traveling all over the universes. Kapil Dev knows, because he is incarnation of Krishna himself. And all these three are knowing this confidential information, because this is not something which is in open forum. So Prabhupada ji says that all those persons, devotees who are knowledgeable, they have become knowledgeable, budhās, because they know the glories of the Lord in different transcendental loving services. So we know the Navvidha Bhakti, Shravanam. So the 12 Mahajanas, they have been knowing this, which we talked day before yesterday. Brahma, Narada, Shiva, Kumar, Kumaras, Kapila, Manu, Prahlad, Bhishma, Janak, Sukdev Goswami, Bali Maharaj and Yamraj. Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura says that what is important is to have an understanding of anubhāva, that is glory of the Lord. So when you have this anubhāva, it is a feeling of ecstasy which a devotee experiences. And the symptoms are perspiring, trembling, weeping, bodily eruptions. And then they get enhanced by further understanding of the glories of the Lord. So this is how the glories of the Lord are exhibited in his subordinated devotees. But then he also serves his devotees. So if someone is having tribulations, someone is having sufferings in his life, in spite of being a devotee, we need to understand that these tribulations are also a form of exchange of transcendental bhāva between the Lord and the devotee. Because Krishna wants to deliver the devotees from the material relations, which are illusory in nature. He puts them into material troubles. Because everything in the material world is depending upon material relations and they are illusory. So the moment all these material resources are withdrawn, what is left for the devotee is only Krishna, and he immediately 100% gets attracted towards loving service of the Lord. Thus the Lord actually saves the fallen souls. He snatches them away from the material existence. And that is why in the morning, before starting our chanting, we pray to the Lord. Cheto darpana marjanam. That we need to clean our heart. Bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. We have to get out of this material forest fire. So this is what is Krishna doing. So if you are getting any sufferings, if you are having any setbacks, please understand it is the plan of the Lord. These tribulations, these sufferings that we have, they're actually imposed, and they are different from the sufferings which the materialists suffer because of their vicious action. So all the great Mahajanas, they know these glories of the Lord, and because they know it, they're able to tell it, and we who are very fallen are able to grasp it only by their grace. So we have to accept this understanding that nothing happens for the bad. So when someone says why bad things happen to good people, this is completely wrong. Bad things never happen to good people, because Krishna only is trying to examine us, test us, so that we become purified enough, strong enough to be able to go back to Godhead. Out of Krishna's causeless mercy and favor upon unalloyed devotees, Krishna, in fact, he also does all kinds of services for the devotees. As we saw, Krishna was the charioteer and Arjuna was riding the chariot. And being a charioteer is not so easy task, because the warrior is busy with his fighting. He does not speak. He uses his legs to tell the charioteer where to move. So if he hits on the right side, the chariot has to move on the right. If he hits on the left, the chariot has to move on the left. And Arjuna was the warrior, and Krishna was the charioteer, was carrying out the orders in such a way. But then that does not mean that he is no longer an absolute person. So to think of him as an ordinary man is grossest type of ignorance, which only the mudhās will do, as we saw yesterday. Avjananti mam mudha manushim tarmashritam. But we are not mudhās. We know the position of Krishna. He is absolute. There is nothing different from him. He is kaivalya, because there is nothing except himself. Everything is a manifestation of his energy. He is present everywhere. His Paramatma, the super soul, present in everyone's heart, as was explained by him in Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam ja vaidescha sarve rahama vedyo vedanta krud veda videva cha. So, he is the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and it is from him that all activities are initiated. And it is the power of devotional service that can make him do any of the activities for his devotees, because he has nothing to do with material conception of life. He is absolute spiritual. Therefore, there is no one superior or inferior, or no action good or bad for him. He has no false ego. So he does not identify himself with anything. What we have, the material conception of ego, is mundane. While for Krishna, it is equibalanced. He does not feel. So he can do anything for his devotees. And it is glory of the pure devotee that he can bring about the service from the affectionate Lord. And that is
Hare
what
Krishna.
we need to understand and take further in our life to become a better devotee. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.